boy, we've been spoiled for a long time where at 30-year mortgages, even below 3% in some cases in the past, and hanging around that 3 and certainly under 4 for, many, many years now. I think the latest 30-year mortgage that's on the market right now is around 7.2 maybe or so, just, around the 7%, mark or so. Your thoughts on the interest rates, where we are with that, what impact you referenced it as the impact of one of the reasons existing home sales have decreased. Thoughts, feedback on that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is certainly the news of the day, right? Higher interest rates, especially coupled with the higher cost of housing as we went through this big time of inflation through COVID. That inflation has disappeared and starting to actually wane a little bit. But the interest rates are, like you said, 7.1, 7.2, something like that. So that is certainly the thing that has slowed down the home sales, as we talked about, being down to 4.5 million or so for this full year. The truth is that we were spoiled. You spoke to it. We were spoiled in a market that was really an unrealistic market. So if I ask people this question, virtually nobody gets it right, which is, if we look at the last 30 years, what has been the average interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage? And the answer is 7%.
So we're at the average.
So what's interesting is that today we think of 7% as skyrocketing interest rates. But the truth is we've only gotten back to average. So does that help our situation? No, because consumers look at that 7% and think it's really high, and gosh, I can't afford to buy a house. I'm going to have to wait till the interest rates come down. But since we do know it's average, we know that long term, we are going to be in and around this 7% probably for quite some time. So the truth is, next year, most economic experts are looking, real estate economic experts are looking at it going down, probably closer to 6, possibly in the high 5s by the end of the year, but more likely down to 6. And so what has been happening is that we've had about 2.5 years now of a lot of people who wanted to buy a house, but either because of low supply, super high demand, or inflation or whatever, and then later on rising interest rates, they have chosen to put that on hold. Well, or at least a number of them have. There's still 4.5 million who are still buying houses, right? That's the thing we have to keep reminding ourselves. But all that is doing is creating pent up demand. These people are not buying a house ever, right? They still want to buy it. They're just putting it off. They're putting it off to see what happens. Another thing that they're doing is they're putting it off until they can wrap their own mind around, what does a good deal look like? No one wants to buy a house and then 6 months later, the interest rates are back down to 3% and housing prices have dropped 10%. But over time, people start to reimagine in their mind what a good deal looks like. That, combined with all this pent-up demand, we believe is setting us up in the near future for a tremendous amount of business that's going to come our way. As a matter of fact, I would go even further and say, my biggest concern, and certainly of the leadership at Pillar to Post, our biggest concern in the near future is that we are not going to be able to ramp our business up fast enough to take care of all this pent-up demand that's being pent up right now. So we're really excited about the future, but we're also concerned. We're concerned that we're not going to have enough inspectors to take advantage of that market as it comes back.